My wife asked where I was up to with this, and I said I'm still stripping stuff off. And she asked about the interior, and I said, yeah, that's coming out slowly. And she said, well, and she asked about the drawers. She said that was purple inside, was it? And I said, yeah, just the drawers. And she said, well, inside the cabinet and inside the drawers, she'd like to be white. That way it's easier to see stuff, especially in a dark room. So she's kind of thrown me a lifeline, because trying to get all the paint off those parts was going to be really difficult. So what I think I'll do with those is I'll still try and get the paint off the outside of the drawers. I still want to try and get the cabinet done. Like, I really like how this is turning out, but I'll obviously sand it down a little bit lighter because this was done with 80. I've still got to scrape off this. These areas I'm going to try with methylated spirit and steel wool. That'll help dissolve the shellac. I'll try and do these side parts as well. This part's proving difficult, so I might paint above here white as well, just so it doesn't look so nasty. And the back, all this interior white, the plywood at the back white, and just the exterior, this part's I'm going to try with the steel wool and the metho, because most of it is just the shellac finish, and then work on the drawers. Some of this black paint, it just needs a little bit of scraping, but sanding this will help with that as well. And today it's really hot. It's currently 32, meant to get to a top of just 33 or 34. So I pulled out this umbrella, which is a cantilever umbrella, so the stand's down behind me, and some water weights on it to stop it from tipping over. And I'll be able to work out here without getting burnt, because I'm pretty white. I'll burn. And I think even if I was wearing my hat and a shirt to stop myself from getting burnt, I would just die out here. So just too hot and sweaty. Anyway, get on with it. So the metho and steel wool is working. I'm getting the paint off. I'm getting the majority of the finish out of it. The next bit will just be to sand, and just these are the areas that really need it. And you can see this has been done so far, and this is areas that haven't been, so you can still see the black paint and some of the shellac finish. So I'm sort of really scrubbing into here. You've got to scrub it in and then wipe it off with a rag, otherwise it just hardens up again. And I've gotten this inside edge done. It still needs to get sanded. I've still got to do this side. I've done this outside to get most of the paint off. Still got to do this side, so that's the next steps, and I'll probably throw it up onto here on its back so I can do the legs. Okay, so I've broken out the big tools, and sides and legs are all coming up well. I managed to get most of this cleaned up pretty good. The inside of the cabinets I've still got to do, but I'm going to do that when I stand it back up. These front pieces I've been able to clean up. I've done both sides. I still need to do the tops. Redo that one. So, I am definitely getting there, but this is just the cabinet. I've still got all the drawers to do. They're like a bit of a separate activity kind of thing. Okay, sanded to 120 on the tops and sides, 80 on the insides. I'm going to see if I can do a single coat of shellac over the bits that I want shellacked, just to protect it now that it's sanded and everything. And the insides I'll be undercoating with a Zinza stain block coating, white. It's also shellac based, it'll stick to anything and it blocks other colours coming through. So that's what I'm doing. So my shellac is only a light cut, so it only goes on fairly thin, which means that it dries pretty quick. And I've done a couple of coats. I can feel the grain starting to pop up just a bit. So it looks like it's going to storm. It also sounds and feels like it's going to storm. But I've done at least 3 coats on all the surfaces that are going to be remaining just as the regular timber, the raw timber. There were some spots that were a little damaged, which is probably why it was painted over, and that meant that, yeah, it was a little bit thin when I was sanding, but it's been given another life. That's the main thing here, and it should serve the purpose for my wife really well. But anyway, I've got to get undercover, and tomorrow I'll probably do the white on the inside of the cabinet and then start working on the drawers. Come on. So since that day that was really hot, it started out hot in the morning, it got to 38 and it was just oppressively hot and muggy, humid. I had to take him up to the vet, and that was, yeah, just trying to walk him that short bit to the vet was bad. But since that evening, because a storm front came through after that, and it's been pretty much like this since. And so this is sitting here, basically got it covered over and protected from the rain that could blow in, because we've had rain in the evenings, and I haven't been able to do anything else with it. I'm on hold, and I go back to work tomorrow. But then it's a weekend, so we'll see what happens. Weather's miserable, which means it's back to work. What a way to end the summer holidays. Rained all day yesterday, and now it's raining today on the first day back, which just makes it humid because it's not cold. It just makes it humid, muggy. Anyway, it's annoying that it had kind of weather I had for the last few days, because I wasn't able to work on that dresser table for my wife. I had to just leave it covered, because even if I went, fine, I'll just work under this cover of the deck out the back, the rain blows in on that, and I couldn't do that. One annoying thing about not having a workshop area that's big enough to be able to do stuff in, I had thought about setting the tarp up outside, and I mean the ground was muddy. Table thing that I was sitting the stuff up on, that's all wet. It's just, and I don't think the tarp would reach out that far. So I hope we'll have some better weather tomorrow and Sunday, so I can try and get that done, because I had hoped to have it done before the break. Same with the stools. First day back in, no students, professional development day, and then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are also professional development and preparation days, and the kids all return on Thursday. The whole school, no staggered starts. So 7 through 12 all back on the Thursday, which means that's going to be a really busy day. Need to make sure that there are, if there's any staff changes in the timetable or class changes or room change, anything like that, that all gets done in the next, I want to say 2 days, so that all the timetables can be printed in the following 2 days at the latest, ready for Thursday, since all of them have to be out. Because like in the past, I'd do 3 year groups, and then when they're on the day that they return, I'd do the other 3 year groups, because we'd only have the 1 day before everybody came back. So we'll just see how today goes. The weekend, next 3 days, back into the swing of it. I finally bit the bullet and tried using ChatGPT yesterday to nut out some ideas for my stage 5 metals and timber programs. Now the reason I wanted to use it is because I can always just go in and teach, and I know the sort of things that I like to have, but with metals, it's been 20 years since I've taught it. Why work harder, if not, why work smarter, not harder, is what everybody who tells me who uses ChatGPT, they say, like, it brainstorms and brain dumps for you, and then you can go through and check it. And I was doing that, I was going through and I said, yep, that looks good, actually that part's not so great, that part's not fleshed out a bit, can it do a bit more of that? And so trying it out, I was pretty pleased yesterday with my initial results, and then I can move it around, format it. It had suggested projects, I looked at those and went, actually that might be a better idea than what I was thinking, because some of my projects are just like, not that they're not useful anymore, but I want to make sure that I capture the interests of the kids early on, because I'm excited about doing it, I want them to be as well. And because they're only going to be 100-hour courses, I want them to be a bit more dynamic rather than the slow progression of skills over 2 years, because at the end of the first year they may want to do it the second year as well, but I've got to have a completely different program in case there's the same kids going through, but it needs to still be simple enough if new kids come in. So that's going to be the hardest part with moving forward with the 100-hour courses, especially for industrial tech, because the syllabuses are set up for a progression of skills, but having a mixture of 9 and 10s in there, because I doubt that I would ever get enough kids picking it out of year 9 and 10 to make 2 classes, so that I could have a year 9 class and a year 10 class. The majority of both of the classes are year 9s, but there are a few year 10s in it that didn't get to pick or didn't get to do timber and metal in year 9 because there wasn't enough kids who picked it, and that was the whole idea of doing the vertical stream. So that's all to be tested this year, starting in less than an hour. We start at 8:30, and I hope the traffic stays nice so I get there by 8:30. We've come down to Valley Heights Bunnings because I needed more sandpaper, and it's fairly flat around here, so we thought we'd go for a walk. And it's been yucky weather. The sun came out just before we left the house and it's gone away again, just as long as it doesn't rain on us. But it was very nice. Bunnings has no issue with the dog coming inside. And it's concrete floor, so we just walk around. And I'd forgot about it at the time. I thought, yeah, I'll just walk him along the highway. And I forgot that there's this little other back road area near Bunnings, which is nice and flat. It's just a regular housing area. Something different.